weeks to go of the summer window, and with the Premier League back again, plenty going on. Darmasheth and Michael Bridge are alongside me to talk through all the finer details. Chelsea's high spending is high on the agenda once again.
Some clubs have a different way to do it, and nobody understands 100% how it works, but somehow so far it works, and it's, you have, as a normal club, it's really difficult.
Well, they spent a lot of money last year as well, and it didn't necessarily work for them, so that doesn't always mean that spending money guarantees you success.
Well, there you go, plenty of Premier League managers with lots to say on Chelsea's spending, Darmasheth, but it's not going to stop them, it's not going to slow them down, and another one confirmed today.
Yes, the one we were expecting, Romeo Lavia's move from Southampton to Chelsea, is now a done deal. It's a 7-year contract. That's what we expect from Chelsea at the moment, these long-term contracts, 19 years old, the midfielder. It's worth £58 million, this deal. So Chelsea will pay an initial £53 million to Southampton, and there'll be £5 million in performance-related add-ons. And I'm sure that if Chelsea end up paying the £58 million, I'm sure they'll actually be quite happy about it, because it will mean that Romeo Lavia has achieved all of the conditions that were in the contract, and it will mean he'll have done well, and it will mean Chelsea have done well. It's the second midfielder they've signed in the space of a week after Moises Caicedo's British record transfer. Both of those players, of course, Liverpool were interested in as well. And Mauricio Pochettino, the Chelsea manager, was asked the question, have Chelsea pipped Liverpool on both of these occasions? And this is what Mauricio Pochettino's response was.
It's about the player decision. It's a player decision that they decide to come here. I think it wasn't a competition. It was a player decision to join us, and that makes us very happy. And they talk very highly about our owners and our sporting director in the way that they work and try to earn the target. And then the player is because the player wanted to come here, and because I think they are feeling something special. I hope they are feeling something special outside of the club, that they say something good is happening here. No?
But what is amazing, Michael Bridge, about this Chelsea spending is you still look at the squad and see maybe little holes. Michael Elise was a target earlier in the week. He's since signed a new Crystal Palace contract, but still potentially, I mean, you'd say that goals might be the issue for Chelsea, and that might be the area that he will look in, Pochettino.
Yes, £945 million spent under Todd Bowley, but June was dominated on our shows with Chelsea departures. So, of course, Mauricio Pochettino will be delighted with those two very highly thought of midfielders into his squad. But yes, do they need more? Well, Mauricio Pochettino certainly thinks so. This is what he said earlier today.
We are working, of course, seeing all the option that we can manage on the market. I think all the clubs are doing the same than us, and then see the potential that we can, transform in reality all this target.
You said earlier that June was maybe a month where we saw Chelsea trim their squad a little bit, but the work still goes on to get those they don't want there off the wage bill, and another one today. Yeah,
I think you've got a line on Hakim Ziyech, haven't you?
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about
Lewis Hall. Talk about Lewis Hall first?
I'm sorry. Yes, I thought.
I thought
we were going to talk Newcastle. Show, Michael.
Hours and hours of meetings.
No,
you still don't know what's going on.
I apologise to you both. Good. And I apologise to Newcastle. Actually, I shouldn't do. It's great news for Newcastle and Eddie Howe, because Lewis Hall is on his way out of Stamford Bridge after a deal was agreed for the left-back. It's an initial loan with an obligation to buy for £35 million, and Chelsea do have a significant sell-on clause, and this is what a very happy Eddie Howe said on the signing.
What can I say? Let's wait and see what happens today. He's a player that I like, very versatile, really good potential.
Would it therefore be a loan deal that you're looking at with this one, or any other possible income?
Yes. Don't want to give you a one-word answer. Let me try and add to it. But yes, I think it is, yeah.
And you also said that you were hoping for one more player. So is that still the case, that it would be one more signing rather than this and potentially more?
Yeah, I think if we were able to bring a player in, that would be our transfer business concluded unless there was injuries within our own players.
Yeah, and it might not be the only Chelsea outgoing in the next couple of days. Do you want to ask him about Hakim Ziyech?
Go on, Hakim Ziyech. I want to
Can
know.
we talk about Hakim Ziyech?
Yeah.
Let's do it now, yeah. So Galatasaray, we think, are finalising a deal for the Chelsea forward Hakim Ziyech. Ziyech could actually fly to Istanbul tonight ahead of being formally presented as a Galatasaray player. Last night, the Galatasaray vice president, Erdin Timur, he spoke very positively about the prospect of Galatasaray signing Hakim Ziyech, because you'll remember earlier on in this transfer window, Ziyech was on the verge of joining Al Nassr. He had a medical, and that medical showed up a knee issue, and that scuppered that deal. And there was a lot of talk yesterday that the medical hadn't gone well with Galatasaray as well. But what we are told, that Galatasaray are satisfied with the results of Hakim Ziyech's medical, and it looks like it's a case of when and not if Hakim Ziyech will become a Galatasaray player.
OK, that's one to keep an eye across over the course of the weekend. Darmish mentioned it a little bit earlier on that it has been a frustrating few days for Liverpool, missing out on both Moises Caicedo and Romeo Lavia, but finally another midfielder arrives.
Yeah, I mean, look, these things happen and managers and clubs have other options, and those other options were exercised by Liverpool. Wataru Endo has joined Liverpool from Stuttgart for a fee in the region of £16.2 million. It's great when you have a Friday we can actually hear the managers on the window, and it was a bit of a light-hearted one from Jurgen Klopp. As we remember last week, talking about Moises Caicedo, he was confident that one was going to get over the line, but it didn't, of course, him going to Chelsea. This one has got over the line, and he spoke about his new player a little earlier.
First and foremost, I'm really happy that we finally can announce we have an agreement with the club and the player. I got told that I can confirm that the deal with the club is agreed, whatever that means exactly in the end, because we want the player and not any kind of agreement. We will see. Yes, and the last week was obviously a tricky one, no doubt about that, but that's when you have a problem, you can stick to the problem or you find a solution. I'm more than happy to have the solution. And comparing footballing-wise, a similar profile, similar position, same position if you want, similar profile.
Just on Caicedo and Lavia, though, what conversations did you have with them? Was it texts, phone calls, meetings? And is there a sense that you've been left with of feeling let down by them?
There's actually nothing to say about. As long as absolutely nothing to say about the transfers. The transfer business is like that. You talk to people, to players, to agents, whatever, clubs, and sometimes it works out and sometimes not. I think that's the general thing, how it works out, and there's nothing else to say about. From my point of view, I think all the things will be said in these kind of conversations. When and if you have them, they stay then between me and the specific other part. So nothing to say about that, really.
Well, that's Jurgen Klopp. Let's turn our attention to West Ham, who've already lost one key midfielder through this transfer window with their captain Declan Rice heading to Arsenal. What about Lucas Paqueta, a target for the Premier League champions Manchester City? This is what David Moyes had to say about it today.
No, I can't shed any light on it. I think I admitted last week at the press conference on Friday that there had been an inquiry from Manchester City on Lucas, but I've got no more to sort of add to that at this moment in time.
So, Lucas Paqueta, a Manchester City target. Where are we with that?
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, it looks like a potential deal to take Paqueta to Manchester City is on hold. We're told it's not completely off, but it's on hold. One source is claiming that it is 90% off. There's just a report that's emerging just now, which we need to look into just now from the Daily Mail, who are reporting that the deal might be off just now because of an FA investigation into Lucas Paqueta. We're going to have to look into that just now. That's just a report that's just emerging just now. But with regard to West Ham United, we think that they don't want to leave themselves short if a deal for Paqueta resurfaces later on in the window. And that will probably explain why the West Ham United technical director, Tim Stuyten, is still in the Netherlands, having face-to-face talks with Ajax over their midfielder, Mohamed Kudus. It's now thought they will pursue a deal with Ajax over Kudus, independent of what happens over Lucas Paqueta. That's because we're told that the interest in Kudus, that was actually live long before the City interest and approach came in for Lucas Paqueta. So definitely one to look out for. Tim Stuyten is still out in the Netherlands, as we understand it, talking to Ajax over Kudus.
So West Ham looking at potential options in their midfield. What about their defence? There was certainly interest in Manchester United and England's Harry Maguire earlier on in the window. Again, David Moyes on this, but also the Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag as well.
Never really talk about players at other clubs because, but we did make an offer for Harry Maguire, so I agreed with that, and we just at the end we've not been able to take it any further, so that's unfortunate.
Very happy Harry Maguire is here. He has to fight for his position, as everyone in this squad. So we construct a squad with double positions, but we need it.
When you say he has to fight for his place, realistically, what do you think he can expect in terms of game time? What opportunities will there be for him?
It's up to him.
What does he have to show you?
Yeah, he knows what I expect from him.
Can you expand on that for us and tell us what you expect from him?
I think I'm now for 1 year here. You know what I expect from a centre-half.
Not always the easiest man to get much out of, is he, Erik ten Hag? But it looks as though West Ham's chances of signing Harry Maguire appear to be cooling. What about their chances of signing a central defender at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting how this one transpired, actually, because West Ham, I think they felt that they had an agreement in place, and then it later transpired that the sources close to Harry Maguire were saying, no, he wants to fight for his place at Manchester United. Erik ten Hag has just said the same. He's going to have to fight for his place big time, though, because if you look at what happened on the Monday Night Football, he was effectively the fourth choice in central defence, wasn't he? Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane started that game. Victor Lindelof came on for Lisandro Martinez at half-time, and Harry Maguire was an unused substitute. Now, while that was happening, West Ham United will be doing due diligence on other central defenders, because it wasn't a case of if Harry Maguire doesn't work out, what are we going to do? They were looking at other defenders. Throughout this window, they've looked at Bayer Leverkusen's Jonathan Tah. It looks like they're now focusing on the Stuttgart central defender, Konstantinos Mavropanos, Greek international, former Arsenal defender. We're told that West Ham remain in talks with Stuttgart over that deal. We understand that the clubs are close to an agreement. Personal terms not expected to be a problem. David Moyes also talked about Jesse Lingard, because he continues to train with the first team, does Jesse Lingard, and he continues, by all accounts, to impress the coaching staff. David Moyes says all this talk of a short-term contract, a little bit premature. We're not talking about that just yet, but significantly, I don't think it's been ruled out.
Lots more to come from Michael and from Darmish on the transfer show between now and 5:30. We are also live to Munich as Harry Kane prepares for his Bundesliga debut, and more from Erik ten Hag on chances of new faces at Manchester United. We'll see in a couple of minutes. huge night for Harry Kane, who'll make his full debut for Bayern Munich. There for us, as he has been since the England captain moved to Germany, is our reporter Paul Gilmore.
Well, Werder Bremen is where it all begins in the Bundesliga for the England captain Harry Kane. He is expected to start tonight for Bayern Munich, his league debut after that appearance off the bench in the Super Cup defeat against Leipzig. And it is here, around 470 miles northwest of Munich, that he does begin his league campaign for the season ahead. The expectation is high. He's expected to score a lot of goals. He's looking forward to that challenge, of course, and he's going to come into a Bayern Munich side under all sorts of pressure going into this. Focus on Thomas Tuchel's comments after the Leipzig game that they look like they haven't done any work in pre-season following that 3-0 defeat. Those have been heavily scrutinised by ex-players and the media in Germany this week. But all eyes again on Harry Kane tonight as he makes his debut live on Sky Sports from 7:15 in the UK.
So no Harry Kane for Tottenham tomorrow in their first home game of the season. Will there be reinforcements coming over the hill though, Michael?
I think maybe in the last week. That's sort of vibe I'm getting at the moment. I know Spurs fans are really keen to get more additions in, but what we reported yesterday about outgoings first being the priority, and that's what Ange Postecoglou said in his pre-Manchester United press conference. Let's just go through quickly the players who are available. Hugo Lloris in talks with Lazio, Jed Spence available for transfer and a loan, Jafet Tanganga listened to offers, Davinson Sanchez listened to offers, Sergei Reguilon available for transfer, he's in talks with Real Sociedad, Tanguy Ndombele available for transfer, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, player open to leaving, club open for him to leave if the price is matched.
OK, let's talk about their opponents tomorrow at Manchester United. We've seen three senior players come through the doors already in the transfer window. Andre Onana, Mason Mount, Rasmus Højlund. Will there be anyone else coming in for Erik ten Hag over the course of the next couple of weeks?
Our squad is covered. All the positions are covered. But yeah, of course, we are Man United. We are always looking for improvement. And when there's the opportunity, we will strike also in the last 2 weeks.
So if Manchester United are to strengthen, where will the key area be, do you think, for the next couple of weeks?
They've done the bulk of their business. That is clear. They've spent £170 million on Rasmus Højlund, on Andre Onana, on Mason Mount. Those, we're led to believe, were the three primary targets in this transfer window, which Erik ten Hag has brought in. The only way that they can bring in major arrivals now, you would think, is if there's departures. Now, the likes of Harry Maguire looks like he's staying. That would have brought in big money. And then potentially they could have gone for someone like Bayern Munich's Benjamin Pavard. As it stands, that's not going to happen just now because Maguire stays. The other area is midfield. Now, they have got up to 15 million euros all in, including add-ons for Fred when he's gone to Fenerbahce. There are talks about a potential departure for Donny van der Beek. Still not done yet, though. Real Sociedad were interested, but there's talk now that Sociedad are focusing on another target. If Donny van der Beek was to leave, the question is then, is that enough alongside Fred for Manchester United to go back into the market and bring someone in? We know that they would potentially be ready to do a deal with Fiorentina for Sofian Amrabat. Fiorentina are aware of their interest. Sofian Amrabat would like to go to Manchester United. It's just whether that would be enough or whether United would have to make further sales to be able to then go back in and then get someone like Amrabat. But look, you can't rule it out in the last couple of weeks of this transfer window. I think United do want to be active, but they do realise that they're trying to comply with financial fair play rules constantly throughout this transfer window. That's been the real buzz phrase for them throughout. And that's why when they've made the signings that they have made, the clubs might have been asking for a lot more money than Manchester United ended up paying, and they were always prepared to walk away from a deal. So, look, as it stands, it's probably going to stay the same, their squad, but never say never if there can be some movement in and out.
All right, let's talk about Bournemouth, who go to Anfield tomorrow. The last time they went there last season, they lost 9-0. Scott Parker lost his job after that game, having done an extraordinary post-match interview where he said that he was desperately short of players. I don't think Andoni Iraola could say he's been desperately short because he has been back this summer.
Absolutely, and I think they've had a pretty good window so far, and I think Bournemouth fans will be delighted to hear that they've agreed a deal with Leeds for midfielder Tyler Adams. The deal is around £23 million plus an extra $1 million in add-ons. He's now expected to have a medical. And let's hear from the manager now.
He's a a really good player. He has performed in the Champions League, national team experience. But I don't want to go too far because right now it's not our player.
We've spoken a little bit about West Ham throughout the course of the show. Let's hear from one man who has definitely come through the door at the London Stadium, James Ward-Prowse, and also his manager David Moyes as well.
It was something that I've not had to deal with before, so I think dealing with that sort of turbulence was difficult at times, but you know, things aren't always easy like that, and I think especially the way that last season finished, it was a lot to take in and digest, but absolutely delighted to get everything done and looking forward to the opportunities that lay ahead.
Yeah, what was your farewell at Southampton like? I imagine, obviously being there since the age of 8, you know, it must have been an emotional few days.
Yeah, it was, not only for me but for my family. I think it's the club and the place that gave me the foundations as a 7 and 8 year old to fulfil my dreams. So I'll always be forever grateful to everybody at that football club who worked with me and helped me along the way and supported me, because yeah, they helped me as a young child fulfil my dream, and you know, that's something that I'll always be grateful for.
Premier League experience, scored goals and assisted in goals throughout his career, so if he does that too, he'll add value to what we've already got, and we hope Edson will bring us something as well. We're looking forward to working with him as well, so I hope the 2 new signings are going to be really positive for us.
Zuma was captain at Bournemouth. Is James going to be your captain, though, do you think?
No, not at the moment, no. We'll do that sort of game by game at the moment, and we'll look into it probably at the end of the transfer window.
Just one man and one more club to focus on before we go. Following Balogun of Arsenal, may not be an Arsenal player this time in 2 weeks.
Yeah, this one's been rumbling on throughout the summer. Monaco remain in talks with Arsenal over the signing of Balogun. The French club are expected to go back in with an improved offer after having one bid rejected already. Arsenal, we think, are standing firm on their £50 million valuation. We think Monaco are trying to work towards a deal whereby they structure it to get as close to that £50 million as possible. Inter Milan were interested earlier on in this transfer window. It's unclear whether they're going to go back in for him. One reason being that the price is pretty prohibitive for them, and also their head coach Simone Inzaghi isn't really 100% certain whether he is the type of profile of player that he wants to bring in. No doubting his qualities, though. He impressed on loan at Reims last season. 34 starts in the league. He scored 21 goals. He's entered the final 2 years of his contract, and he's made it clear to Arsenal he wants a permanent move away. Just one development while we're on air on Balogun, and this is from one source only before we go, and it says Chelsea have an interest in Folarin Balogun. No bid made, but interest is real. So I'll tease you with that.
That is a lovely little tease. Darmish, Michael, thank you very much indeed. Much more to come on that story, I would suspect, at 7 o'clock. We'll also have team news in the next hour for the Premier League game tonight, Nottingham Forest against Sheffield United.